busy. I know, go talk. I can't really talk now. I'm live streaming. What? Okay. Hey guys. Long time no see. I haven't been live streaming. I've just been posting here and there. Anyways, this is like I learned about this thing about half an hour ago. So it's at the Italian Center here in East Vancouver. Pierre Poilievre is going to be speaking. So I decided to come down. If you have time, free entry. You don't have to pay to get in. And there's quite a few people. I'll just turn it around. Hope everybody's doing good. I've just been enjoying my summer, taking a break from the live streaming, yelling at my phone, and all that kind of stuff, right? So you know what I mean? How many times can you bitch about the same thing on your phone? So I just had to lay off, and now the videos are basically just mocking all this garbage because it's just ridiculous. But I figured I'd go live here for a little bit at least, just to show you what's going on. Hey Valerie. One sec. Quite a few people here. It's actually pretty busy. Just walk around here for a second. Now, I'm not going to say if I really trust him or not. All I know, he's better than Trudeau, but who knows what happens when he gets in, right? All these people change their tune as soon as they get into power, so it's hard to say if they're good or bad or whatever, but anyways, pretty hot outside, hot inside. The thing is, this is for 2025. Like, what's gonna happen? He's running for 2025. Is Canada even gonna be here in 3 years? You know what I mean? It's like, this is ridiculous. We don't have 3 years. We barely even have 3 months. So 3 years from now, we're not going to have a country. So I don't know. It's crazy. It is what it is, though. He hasn't come into the room yet. There's lots of people here. This place doesn't even have air. I guess it has aircon. It's pretty hot in here, though. I've never been to one of these things before, and I just figured I don't live too far, so I'll come down, check it out. So I guess he's going to be coming out here. Let me turn this around. Here will be WF. Shit hit the fan is now. Exactly. We don't have time for 2025. That's like, by then all you're going to see is a mushroom cloud in Vancouver, because nothing's going to be here. 3 years, like in this environment, 3 years is like 30 years. Like, things are going way too fast. Who knows what the hell is going to happen in 3 years? Like, seriously? I can't reiterate that enough. We do not have 36 months. But it is what it is. What can we do, right? I don't see anybody from the freedom movements here, though. I don't trust a single politician. Hey, Jen. Hey, Maria. Yeah, I don't trust any politicians either. They've all let us down, so why would we trust any of them? They all say the same thing. They promise the world and then they give you nothing. Turn this around. Who? Frank? Go ahead. We're just gonna go hang out with our friends, and then I guess where I was before, now I'm just following my wife. The Pierre Poilievre for Prime Minister, I don't know, that's almost like a joke to me, just because of like I said, the amount of time. You got 3 years, like, it's just like, I don't know. I can't take it serious. I'm not taking this serious one bit. I'm not excited, and there's nothing. I have no feelings about this whatsoever, just because it's way too far into the future for this to actually have any kind of impact in our lives. But I guess better than nothing. I don't even know. I wish it was Chrystia Freeland or Trudeau. walking out here, because then I could give him a piece of my mind like that guy in Alberta did to Chrystia Freeland. But now, of course, he wants all different political parties to denounce the hatred and inciting violence from that guy, you know, that big white guy in Alberta who was yelling at Freeland. Nobody was inciting violence. You're allowed to yell at people. It's not illegal. But I'm sure if they could, they would change the laws to make it illegal to yell at politicians. This is how a bunch of cowards and a bunch of cucks we're dealing with in this country, in this world. Everyone gets hurt. You know, words. Remember, sticks and stones. What is it? Sticks and stones will break my bones, but names will never hurt me. We all knew that as a kid. I don't think the kids today know that phrase. They don't know that phrase. I don't think the politicians know that phrase. I don't think anyone under 30 knows that phrase. It's hilarious. Now people are intimidated by words. You can't even yell at them. It's all microaggression. They're all, oh no, you hurt me. You hurt my feelings. I want to charge you with inciting violence and this and that. It's like, stop treating us like second-class citizens, and maybe you wouldn't get that kind of reception. But you got your head so far up your ass, Chrystia Freeland, Trudeau, Jagmeet Singh, and all you other dirtbags, that you think the world owes you when you've actually done nothing for the world except try to destroy it. Particularly Canada, you tried to destroy it, and you've gotten away with far too much. Hold on here. I don't have my gimbal. I gotta read what you guys are saying. Nice to see me going live again, yeah. Cool. I don't have much to say. Like I said, I don't want to keep complaining about the same stuff. I want solutions. How many, like we've been doing this for what, 2.5 years now. I've done so many hundreds of videos and things get worse and worse. Obviously, I'm not going to be able to change it, but I'm a solutions-oriented person, and if I can't fix something, then I'm just going to look in another direction to figure something else out. And I've just been obviously focusing on my family and just enjoying the summer. If winter gets crazy again, I guess I'll be out there doing some protesting and so forth, but I'm just taking a break for pretty much everything, just because, of course, what's the point? Like, I don't know. We have to wait until shit hits the fan for us to react. We can't really change anything right now, in my opinion, until things get worse. People need, like I said before, people need to feel the pain. People need to see it. They need to feel it in their daily lives. And they're starting to, and now enough time has passed. People got the jibber jabber clown juice, and they're starting to realize, hey, I got 4 of these things inside my arm, and I'm still getting C19, still getting sick. And the guy, my next door neighbor, who hasn't got anything, and I was making fun of him last year, well, lo and behold, he doesn't get sick. He's not laying in his bed for a week in the middle of August, right? So it takes a little bit of pain for a lot of people to clue in. If it doesn't affect them personally, then they don't want anything to do with it. It's all about me. And that's okay. It's going to be all about you, about every single person who laughed, every single person who didn't give a fuck. It's going to be all about you, and then you're going to feel the pain. Well, they got the 80s tunes now playing. People are going to feel the pain, and then, yeah, they're going to learn the hard way. They have to. That's fine. And that's why I haven't been doing much. We need more people to get off the couch. The only way that happens is if the pain happens. Let me turn around. Not yet. He's going to be coming through that door, though. No, not yet. Yeah, I miss everybody, too. There's only so much I can sit there and scream at my black mirror, right? Freedom, 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 freedom. They're saying Pierre, I'm saying freedom. Freedom, freedom.
They're kind of synonymous.
Pretty much, right? Where is this? That's Italian Center in East Vancouver on Grandview Highway.
Who's ready to go?
Good to see you too, Monica. Good to see everybody on this live.
I'm Brad Fiss. I guess I'm MC tonight. I got the easy job because all you guys are so pumped already. Who's excited to see Canada's next Prime Minister? Okay, I got one housekeeping item before we go. If you haven't voted for Pierre yet to be Canada's next Prime Minister, my good friend Trevor is right outside. He can help you. I already know I talked to a lot of you coming in. Thank you all for getting your ballots in. You are all awesome. Thank you so much. So I'm going to keep this really short. I think we should just start saying his name or something. We'll get him to come out. So I'm just going to say, without further ado, Pierre Poilievre, guys. Let's rock the free world. Let's hear it.
Friend or foe, we don't know.
That's not loud enough. Let's go. Come on. This is Canada. Last beat of it. You guys are making history right now. Keep it up. Let's hear it.
Thank you very much, Vancouver, British Columbia.
Let's see what he has to say.
Who's ready to take back
You guys tell me what you think.
You know, we've been traveling through a lot of farm country. We learned a very simple lesson, and it's this. There's no point planting the crop in the spring if you don't plan to harvest it in the fall. We planted 311,959 seeds. That's the number of memberships that we sold in the spring. But none of them count unless we harvest the crop. In other words, unless people send in their
Probably a
ballots
phony,
and
yeah.
vote. Has everyone in this room voted already? There's still a little bit of time left, but not much. And that's why we're out rallying across the country. I think the reason that we have had this unprecedented movement, record-smashing numbers, to create a total membership of 675,000 members, the biggest political party in Canadian history. Is because people are tired of being bullied by big bossy government. They're tired of a prime minister that pushes them around and speaks down to them and calls them terrible names. And they're ready to stand up and demand their birthright, their God-given right to live in the freest country on earth.
I'm not falling for him. I'm just here to document that. I don't trust any politicians.
Freedom means taking control of your own medical decisions, having the right to work, to cross.
Yeah! It all sounds good.
Freedom means being able to earn a wage without having it all clawed back in taxes and inflation, right? We all know about inflation here in British Columbia. Vancouver, the third worst housing bubble anywhere on planet Earth if you compare median house price to median income. Why is this? Why is it that everything is so expensive? Well, it's not just housing. We also see it with food price inflation up 10%, or the cost of fuel, $1.89 a liter here today, making it next to impossible for many working class families to get where they're going. Why have prices risen so fast under Justin Trudeau's?
100% you're on.
The cost of government is driving up the cost of living. $500 billion of inflationary deficits means more dollars chasing fewer goods, which leads to higher prices. Inflationary taxes makes it more expensive for businesses to produce those same goods. The more Trudeau spends, the more things cost. It's just inflation, isn't it? Printing cash is no way to make people better off. You have 10 loaves of bread, $10. Well, that's $1 for each loaf of bread. If you increase the number of dollars to 20, but you still have 10 loaves of bread, well, all of a sudden, it's $2 for a loaf of bread, right? That's what our Bank of Canada has been doing, printing money to fund Justin Trudeau's spending, leading to $8 8% inflation, a 40-year high. The Bank of Canada has one job: keep inflation at 2%, not 8%. Tell me, what happens when a waitress, a barber, or a mechanic doesn't do their job?
You get fired!
Somehow a big shot banker who works for Justin Trudeau, making nearly $500,000 a year, who doesn't do his job, he gets to keep it regardless. That's how things work in Justin Trudeau's Ottawa. That's not the real world. That's not the real world.
Fire him!
Prime Minister, we're going to bring the
Yeah,
real
I'll
world
talk,
to
I know.
Ottawa. I will fire the bank
I hate
governor
talk.
and replace him. Spending under control. I'll bring in a new approach that manages your money with the same respect that you manage your own money. You know, we'll get rid of the $35 billion infrastructure bank that does nothing but pay bonuses to executives and protect profits of multinationals while it hasn't completed a single project in 5 years. That's a perfect opportunity to save some money. I'm going to axe the $35 billion infrastructure bank. We'll save $1 billion by defunding the CBC.
That sounds good. It does sound good though, right?
And we're going to impose a radical idea that you impose in your own life. When you bring in a new dollar of spending in your household, you find $1 of savings to pay for it. Just like a small business does, but not government. You see, Thomas Sowell, the great economist, once said, you like Thomas Sowell, he's got lots of fans everywhere. The number one rule of economics is scarcity. People always want more than there is to have. The number one rule of politics is to ignore the number one rule of economics, right? Politicians are the only creatures in the universe that do not have to live with scarcity. The birds, the trees, the fish, and the seas all have to maximize use of limited resources to survive and thrive. But the politician merely pushes his scarcity onto other people through higher debt, taxes, and inflation. Well, what if we passed a law that said politicians have to find $1 of savings every time they bring in a new dollar of spending? They did this in the United States in the 90s, and guess what? They balanced the budget, paid off $400 billion of debt, and as soon as the law lapsed, America went right back into deficit and has not emerged ever since, proving the age-old rule that politicians need legal limits on their spending. You have been pinching your pennies long enough. It's time for politicians to pinch their pennies too.
That's political talk. Very bullshit. Yes.
And we will not allow the central bank to create a central bank digital currency. You deserve to control your money. You cannot
That reminds me of Trump.
More cash. Why don't we create more of what cash buys? Build more houses, grow more food, and produce more energy right here in Canada. We need to get the government gatekeepers out of the way. No bigger example than Vancouver City Hall. You know, in this city. The gatekeepers at City Hall in Vancouver have added $650,000 of costs to every single new unit of housing built in the city. Through delays, through permitting charges, through taxes, through more delays, through consultants and lawyers and all the fees that you have to pay, and every penny of it is passed on to the end buyer. The developers don't care. They just pass the price on to the buyer. That's why the young people in this city cannot afford a place to live. 35-year-olds living in their parents' basements. Whenever I ask how you bring home a date when you have your basement, there's usually a mother in the crowd who says, very carefully. But I was 14, we used to bring our dates in through the side window. Right? You're not going to tell my mom that, right? But truthfully, how is it that you start a life, raise a family, build home equity, have collateral or credit history if you can't afford a home? Home ownership is the basic building block of economic opportunity. It is the springboard that gives the poor, the working class, and the newcomer the chance to start a life and build a better future. To do that, we need to actually build houses. And here's how we're going to do it. A Poilievre government will link the number of infrastructure dollars a big city gets to the number of houses that actually get completed, so that the city hall politicians have an incentive to get the gatekeepers out of the way, get construction started, and get people houses. Secondly, I will require that every single federally funded transit station have pre-approved high-density housing right around it, so that our young people can live right next to the station, right?
Yeah! Sounds like Agenda 30.
Of the underutilized 37,000 federal buildings, so that we can convert that into housing and convert the proceeds of sales into deficit reduction. And it warms my heart to think of the beautiful family pulling up in their U-Haul to empty out their belongings into their wonderful new home in the former headquarters of the CBC.
Yeah! And global news, MCTV news.
And we're going to get the gatekeepers off the backs of our farmers as well, right? Ladies and gentlemen, we have the 5th biggest supply of arable land per capita on Earth, and yet 4 in 5 families are having to cut their diets because they can't afford the rising cost of food. Worse, Trudeau's gatekeepers are piling on more and more costs to our farmers, with the carbon tax that increases the cost of fertilizer and energy. And then he wants to increase the carbon tax by 200%. You know, this carbon tax, they applied it to this tomato farmer in my riding, his greenhouse, and they wanted to tax him on the CO2 that he releases into the greenhouse, even though it's absorbed by the plant life. Apparently Justin missed that day in science class.
Yeah, we're probably screwed.
And so here's the result. It's more expensive to buy a Manotick tomato in Manotick than a Mexican tomato in Manotick. So we're signaling to consumers that they should pay for the tomato that had to be transported by truck and train, burning fuel all the way from Mexico, rather than buying the local produce. Furthermore, Trudeau wants to cut back on fertilizer by 30%, which of course will mean it will take more land to grow the same amount of food. So they'll have to run the combines, the tractors, longer distances, burning yet more fuel. And of course, more of our production will be outsourced to faraway lands with less environmental protections, and then trucked and trained long distances, burning yet more fuel to bring those goods to us. Didn't we learn during COVID how irresponsible it was to rely on the rest of the world to provide us with our essentials? Shouldn't we learn to take care of ourselves, get off the backs of our farmers?
Good to see where the fake media is. Think about yell at those shit bags.
That's why a Poilievre government will repeal the carbon tax, end this fertilizer cut mandate, get off the backs of our farmers, allow them to produce more food, make this the bread basket of the world.
Yeah!
You know, over in the Kremlin, there's a group of Putin's advisors who roll around in gut-splitting laughter at what a sucker our Prime Minister is. You know, just last month he violated his own sanctions against Putin to send a turbine back that we've been maintaining in Montreal that powers the gas transmission through Putin's pipeline over to Germany. Now, remember, this is the same Prime Minister who's against building pipelines in Canada, but he's in favor of maintaining pipelines in Russia that ultimately allow Putin to fund his war against Ukraine. This while we have 1,300 trillion cubic feet of natural gas that we could be sending around the world to displace the dirty dictators. And we have an enormous advantage in that natural gas production. One, we have so much of it. Two, the shortest shipping distance to Asia from Canada is British Columbia. The shortest distance to Europe from North America is Newfoundland. And three, how do you get natural gas to become a liquid so it can go on a ship?
You cool it.
You cool it down. And what do we have in Canada?
Cold air.
Cold weather. Oh, stop complaining. You don't have cold weather out here. You have no idea what cold weather is. You know how cold it gets in Ottawa? It was so cold last winter, Justin Trudeau had his hands in his own pockets.
Yeah! Woo! It doesn't get old.
There were 15 proposals for natural gas liquefaction and export terminals when Justin Trudeau took office. 0 have been built, and so exactly 0 of our natural gas is directly shipped overseas from Canada. A Poilievre government will remove the government gatekeepers, repeal C-69, the anti-energy law, and replace it with a law that consults First Nations, protects our environment, but gets projects built so that we can liquefy natural gas and we can ship it to Asia to shut down coal-fired plants and ship it to Europe to break dependence on Newfoundland's plan to increase its oil production by 400,000 barrels a day so that we can fully replace the 130,000 barrels of overseas oil from foreign dictatorships we're bringing in. And within 5 years, we will end dictator oil imports to Canada altogether. And I will ban all my ministers from any involvement in the World Economic Forum.
Well, you said the words, World Economic Forum. Oh, Schwab's going to be mad.
We're also going to get rid of the gatekeepers that stand in the way of our brilliant immigrants. Here we are. The most brilliant people from around the world are coming to Canada. Immigrants for Pierre. Look at that, right there. Our immigrants come here with incredible skills, and yet gatekeepers stand in the way of their ability to use those skills. The thousands of doctors who are trained abroad and practiced for decades come here expecting to be able to treat patients, but then local gatekeepers don't give them a license. They don't even give them an answer. And so they wait, often doing low-wage jobs, unable to ever pursue the dreams for which they work so hard and which they came here to pursue in the very first place. Meanwhile, my blood boils when I sit in a waiting room at a hospital with my little girl and she suffers from a migraine because we have a doctor shortage. Ladies and gentlemen, we have the doctors. We just need to allow them to practice medicine. Poilievre government. Yes.
End the mandates.
Poilievre government will sign deals with the provinces, bring in a 60-day guarantee so that within 60 days of an immigrant professional applying to work in his profession, he should get a yes or no answer based on tested ability, not based on where they come from. Yes, that's right.
Kid Carson. Right there. That was Kid Carson.
And we're going to allow immigrants to begin working on getting their credentials even before they get to Canada so they can arrive and hit the ground running. For those falling just short of the Canadian standard, we'll back up 30,000 small, privately delivered study loans so they can take the time off work, study up, get licensed, get to work as doctors, engineers, electricians, earning big, powerful, inflation-proof paychecks serving our economy and our fellow Canadians. That's what we're going to do. We're going to stand on the side of all of our law-abiding people. Look at the way our streets are now besieged by gun criminals, right? And we know that These gun criminals
It's at the Italian Center.
brought in from the United States by traffickers. A small minority of people commit a vast majority of the violent crimes, but yet Justin Trudeau's revolving door justice system puts them right back out on the street without any serious consequences. Meanwhile, he wants to spend $1 billion buying back the sporting and hunting rifles and pellet guns of law-abiding duck hunters and farmers. Look, it is not a duck hunter from out in the countryside that is shooting up downtown Vancouver, right?
Absolutely not.
Yeah. It's all common sense.
That is why a Poilievre government will, instead of targeting our law-abiding duck hunters and farmers, I will toughen our justice system to put the real criminals behind bars and bolster
Live on TikTok?
Facebook.
And speaking of our law-abiding people, we're going to remove the gatekeepers that try to control what you see and say online. The woke warriors. Any wokesters in the room? No wokesters here. You know what the woke movement is really about. It's about dividing people.
That's
Trudeau wants to divide people by race, by ethnicity, by sexuality, and now by vaccine status. Why? Why does he try to do it? Because he believes if you're afraid of your neighbor, your trucker, your co-worker, well, then you'll turn to him and offer him more power and control over your life to protect you from your fellow citizen. And so he introduces a bill like C-11, which would give gatekeepers at CRTC the control over what appears in your newsfeed or your YouTube stream, and allow those bureaucrats to dictate the public debate in this country, obviously shutting out your voice and the voice of countless other people. Ladies and gentlemen, we have something called Section 2B of the Charter of Rights and Freedoms. Unfortunately, yes, you can applaud that. It's a very important section.
Absolutely.
Unfortunately, not a lot of university campuses are aware of that section, right?
He's in Vancouver.
Local there try to shut down debate by professors and students, requiring everybody to adhere to the same woke, politically correct consensus. They pushed Jordan Peterson out of the University of Toronto, right? Now, you don't have to like Jordan Peterson, but if you disagree with him, debate him, right? Debate him. Have a debate, but they don't want to have a debate. They know they will lose the debate. We believe as conservatives that everyone should have a voice and the best ideas will rise to the top. Section 2B. 2B or not 2B? That is the question. And a Poilievre government will give you the answer. I will protect free speech. I will repeal C-11. And I will require campuses to honor academic freedom. We will require universities that want federal grants for research to commit that they will honor freedom of expression rights contained in the Charter of Rights and Freedoms, so students and faculty can exchange those ideas. You know what I love most about freedom? There's a lot of things to love about freedom. But unlike control, freedom unites people. Let me explain why. See, control, there's only 100% of it. So it's a zero-sum game. One person gets more control, somebody else must get less. That's why people fight over control. Freedom is different. It's an unlimited supply. That's why people fight for freedom. If your neighbor gets more freedom, you are not left with less freedom. You too get more freedom.
I don't know if
right?
here.
If, for example, your Muslim neighbor gets more religious freedom, then you as a Hindu or a Sikh or a Christian will have more religious freedom, right?
Yeah!
If that doctor who comes as an immigrant gets the freedom to practice, or if that person who is fired because of their vaccine status gets to go back as a nurse, you will have the freedom to have better medical care, right?
Yes.
your local small businessman gets the freedom from red tape, then you'll have the freedom to buy his products more affordably, and your teenager might have the freedom to get a job working for him. You see, one person's freedom is another person's freedom. So instead of divide and conquer, why don't we unite for freedom in this country? This is not the end, even though the campaign is drawing near to September 10th. In fact, it's not even the beginning of the end, but it is the end of the beginning. It is. Do you know that this is the last major rally of my leadership campaign? Of these rallies, with a total of 93,000 people who have RSVP'd right across the country. Isn't that incredible? 10 provinces. Over 6 months. I've been on the road from coast to coast to coast to coast. All 10 provinces and countless hamlets, villages, and towns. It's been an emotional experience for me. A long distance from my family. Meeting a lot of you. And I want to speak to all the people who come to my rallies. You know, I have a policy. Every rally, I have a line. And I invite every single person who comes to shake my hand. Sometimes we stay till 1 in the morning. So not a single person leaves without having a chance to have their say. And you've told me your stories. Some of them have been hilarious. Some have been long. Some of them have been painful and told behind a shower of tears. I have met a woman who lost her 2 children to opioid overdoses. Can you imagine losing 2 sons, or only 2 sons? I've met elderly widows who can no longer pay their bills and wonder how they will ever be able to live out their days. I have met that immigrant who came here for a better life and is banned from working in his job. I have met a miner in Timmins who could not afford the $2.50 a liter diesel to drive all the way over to Thunder Bay to see his dying parents one last time. I have met the energy worker in St. John's, Newfoundland, who tapes up his boots because he cannot afford new ones. I have met countless young people stuck in 400 square foot apartments. Even though they did everything that we asked them to do, they earned their degree, they worked hard, and they gave their best. And I have seen again and again that as people speak up, the government cracks down, leaving people feeling bullied and powerless in their own country, which they no longer recognize. I have seen not anger, but I have seen pain. There are people in this country who are just hanging on by a thread. But you know what else I have seen? I have seen hope. I have seen hope from people who believe there's a chance to take our country back and put themselves back in charge of their lives. Hope that there's nothing wrong with this country that cannot be fixed by what is right with this country. Hope that this democracy of ours belongs to every single one of us. That we can transform this again from an aristocracy back to a meritocracy. You know, when I was a kid, I was adopted from a 16-year-old ungood mother, whose mother herself had just died. And my 2 parents were school teachers who adopted me and taught me that it didn't matter where I came from. It mattered where I was going. It didn't matter who I knew. It mattered what I could do. That's the Canada. It is for their future and for the future of your children and your grandchildren that we can rekindle that hope, that we can bring back the Canada that gives everybody the opportunity to get ahead through their own hard work, that in the words of the great Canadian Prime Minister John Diefenbaker, I am a Canadian, a free Canadian, free to speak without fear, free to stand for what I think right, free to oppose what I believe wrong, free to worship God in my own way, free to choose those who shall govern my country. It is this heritage of freedom I pledge to uphold for myself and for all of mankind. Thank you very much.
Yeah!
There you go.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's give it a round for Pierre Poilievre! As our future Prime Minister mentioned, he's going to stick around because he wants to meet every single one of you tonight. So if you want to have a quick word with Pierre, you'll line up on the left side, to my left over here near the exit signs. Pierre's going to be on the right side. We're going to start forming a line really quickly.
Over there.
But most importantly,
Big
I want to
Parsons
thank
right there.
everyone for an awesome night tonight.
Hey, Maria.
I want to thank
Hey, Maria,
everyone
how's it
for
going?
being so polite, for rocking the free world, for coming and standing up for democracy. Thank you so much.
He says nice things, but is he going to follow through? It just reminds me of Trump in 2016. Yeah. We're live. We're live though. How's it going? Good person. Good person for Prime Minister. Hey. How's it going, buddy? Good, you? Good. I'm live though. Don't say anything unless you want to be on Facebook. You're not on. It's going this way. It's not bad, right? Oh, really? Oh, yeah. Hey, your wife called me. I heard about that. Fucking crazy. I know they're assholes. Okay, guys, I think I'm going to sign off. Anyways, it is what it is. My opinion is this. You come here, you listen, but I wasn't really... It is what it is. If he does all that stuff, congratulations, awesome. But is he actually going to follow through? I really don't think so. Plus, it's 3 years away, so I don't know, whatever. I don't like being negative, but I just try to see things in a very logical, clear light. And I don't know, cards are stacked against us right now. And I think the only change that's going to really come is from the people. Like Chris Guy says, just say no, stop complying. That's what you have to do. Stop complying with all this crap. With all the C-19 measures, and then there's a lot of other things, a lot of other issues in this country. That's just one of the major ones right now. Anyways, signing off. Thanks for tuning in to Real Truth Report, live from East Vancouver at the Italian Center. That's it. Okay, thanks guys.